All right, everybody, Christian here. Hey, so I was just thinking about it this week, and I was just thinking about the difference between like a calling and a purpose. And I've always kind of put those together in my head. I'm just like, it's the same word, or same meaning, different word. And then after just hearing about it and looking at the scriptures about it a little bit differently, I was like, okay, so we all have the exact same purpose on this planet. And God gave us all the exact same one. He tells us in Ecclesiastes 12:13, the conclusion when everything has been heard is fear God and keep his commandments, because this applies to every person. And then further in Romans 8:28, he says, and we know that God causes all things to work together for good to those who love God, to those who are called according to his purpose. So it's pretty cool that we all act. So when we're always looking for our purpose in life, well, we found it. God told us exactly what our purpose is, and that's to fear and love Him. Love Him with all your heart, soul, strength, mind, and being, and love your neighbor as yourself. And so that makes things a lot simpler. Now, our calling, that's going to be specific to each individual person, and that's a very interesting journey to be on to find whatever the Father's got for you. And again, that can be it can look differently in different seasons at different times, different stages of life, and et cetera, et cetera. So it can even change to a degree, and that's really interesting to be able to see, and also really really weird because you think you're doing one thing, you do it for a while, and then he's like, all right, you've done good there. Now I'm going to put you over here where it's new, weird, confusing, uncomfortable for sure, and just going to challenge you and just set you off on all these really weird, you're not liking it kind of situations. But it's what I told you to do. And he likes doing that sometimes, a lot of times. But it was I do like this one quote from Alex Ramosi. He says, "The heaviest things in life aren't iron and gold, but unmade decisions. The reason the reason you are stressed is because you have decisions to make and you're not making them." So whenever we have something like our calling and we're not either looking for it, listening for it, or actively pursuing to find out what is our calling specifically in this world, and whenever we aren't doing that, we're kind of just still existing. And I don't know, at least for me, I just hate the idea of just existing. I want to actually be able to do something. I want to be able to do good in the world, to be able to talk about God, to help people, to love them in the way He told us to love our neighbor. I want to actually be doing something, and just sitting around existing, it is not something that sits well with me. So, anyways, I like that one about that Alex talks about, and it just gets me to think. And then I just look at more scriptures about our calling and how we go about our life and every day. So a few other things whenever it comes to what we think, or at least what we believe in that moment, with our calling, is Proverbs 19:21. Many plans are in a person's heart, but the advice of the Lord will stand. Again, we man makes his plans, God directs his steps, kind of thing. And it's again, it's just like anything else. It's really revealing to know that, okay, we're listening to God. He's telling us to do X, Y, or Z, and we're going towards that. It never happens in the way you think, of course, but knowing that He will still guide you, because no matter how much of a screw up you think you are in this world or anything like that, you can't screw up enough that's gonna mess up God's plans for you or for anyone else. You're either a willing vessel or not, and as long as you're willing, that's kind of all He needs. And so it was just interesting stuff like that that I just sit there and remember and try to remind myself. It says to write the scriptures on your heart so that you can remember them, you can use them to fight against the enemy and all that kind of stuff. And that's always needed. So that's just one that stood out to me. Another one was Isaiah 55:8. That this one I've just been saying to myself for the past couple months now, and just writing it down, trying to memorize it. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, nor your ways my ways, declares the Lord. Again, He's got a bigger plan for us than what we know and what we even think we know. And I can sit here and be like, okay, I know what God told me here, and I'm doing that, but then it's going in a completely different way, and things haven't worked out, and you know it's just been all over the place, and it's just really messed me up and really infuriated me and made me super confused. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? Like, did I hear you right or not? Or what's going on? And again, that's just part of the journey of him testing your faith and just seeing if you'll stand firm and listen and continue to do what at least what he's telling you to do what's right. So Hebrews 10:36 is, for my thoughts are not your thoughts, nor your ways my ways, declares the Lord. So, whoops, I accidentally messed those up. That's one of those. Anyways, I said the same thing twice. Anyways, moving on. Jeremiah 29:11 is, God is not a man that he would lie, nor a son of man that he would change his mind. He is, has he said, and will he not do it? Or has he spoken, and will he not make it good? And so that was just another one that I've been trying to memorize with with knowing that he's not going to go back on his word. He's made his promises. He said what he said, and so that was just a good one to go back and to remember about. I can't mess this up. I can't screw it up enough against what he's got planned, and he said it. He said it, and it's not going to go back. He's not going back on his word. It's just not happening in the way we think, not in the way I think. And another cool one, which also really sucks, because it's, whenever you're going through the storm, it's like, I gotta remember this one. It's Job 121. Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I shall return there. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. And again, that's just another one of those that's just like, whenever you're just like super, super struggling, and it's like, what am I doing? Am I not doing this right? Did I hear you wrong? I thought you said this, blah, 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 blah. Like, there's always something, right? And it's just one of those that he has. And it just has you go back and remember, like, it's like, hey, I said what I said. I'm It's like, you came in this world with nothing, you're gonna leave with nothing. And so what I say is gonna be, and it's gonna be better than anything you could ever hope for. And then so yeah. And then I like uh this last one, which is, well, never mind. I think I finished off with that one. Okay, just kidding. So that was a good one. There's so many that I was like pulling and wanting to add in, and then I was like, okay, let me try and keep this a little bit shorter. So then I just kept it to a handful of scriptures, of course, except for the two that I added in there and missed mixed up something there. Anyways, point being, the idea is that when you're going through that calling, like, you're being called to do something. So if someone were to tell me there's this free, ultimate, awesome, powerful being that's saying, hey, do these good, right things. I'm going to give you the manual for it. Follow it to the best of your ability. Keep coming to me, and I'll keep telling you and helping you grow and learn. And that's your purpose. And then I'm also going to give you this great thing called a calling. And you're also going to do amazing, amazing, great things of the gifts and talents and blessings I've given you. I'm going to fill you and allow that to prosper, and you can do all these great, amazing things and have a great life. And it's also going to suck at times, because you're going to go through, because we're also told we're going to suffer, especially if we're following God. So we're still going to suffer and go through those seasons of change and hardship and et cetera, et cetera. And but when someone can come and say, here's good, there's good and bad. Everything in life is always going to be good and bad, hard and easy. And there's going to be suffering, and there's going to be joy. So if someone was telling me that, like God does, at least for me, I want to jump on that train of, yeah, I'm willing to go, to go to the extent. I'm willing to, this world, I've seen it and been in it, and it's had me suffer and be distracted and get nothing good from it. But if I can get something really good and ultimate, and that actually fulfills me, and has that God-shaped hole in our soul and in our heart that only He can fill, and He can just allow all these great things to happen. Well, why would I say no to that? Why would I not want to at least explore that journey? So I don't know. That's just me. And what was kind of coming up this week in my thoughts was, we all have a calling, and it's calling for you to come and be a part of it. So why are you so hesitant, and why are you so afraid? Well, granted, we already know about fear. Fear is rooted in everything. So why are we going to allow that fear that we already know is going to happen, overpower the good that could come from any of this, that we'd be able to at least partake in and do in the world? This world's going to be full of good and bad. Why not just chase the good, and the bad's going to come with it? It's going to happen, but let's keep striving for the good. So the calling's calling everyone, you know, answer your calling really, and chase down that thing that can bring you peace, that can bring you shalom, that can bring you, an actual meaning and reason for being here. All right, I'm gonna stop talking because I'll keep going on forever. Love you guys. Hope it helps. Uh, Blessings.